Hello everyone, my name is Binks and welcome back to Let's Play The Great Ace Attorney 2. Ugh, Binks. Why? Why don't you have the correct thing open? Yeah. Alright, The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolved. The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. Yeah. I'm a professional. No, I'm not. Ugh, as you could tell, I'm still coughing. It's gotten to the point, y'all, I need to see a pulmonologist. Which is funny, because that's what I bill for. I bill for pulmonary specialty. So I read about asthma all the time, and now I'm starting to think, do I have asthma? Late in life. I've never thought that would be me. It's either that or some kind of allergy. And now I'm like, damn, do I have allergy to my dog? Who I've had for years. Either that or like, I know we have dust and stuff, and we do clean, but there's so much stuff in this house, man. If we had less stuff, it'd be easier. But the thought of having to like dust everything all the time. Oh no. Alright, anyway, I'm always rambling in this LP, aren't I? I ramble a lot lately. Let's talk to this fool. Who I also just realized when I was editing, I was like, you know what? I think I gave him the same voice I gave to that old man with the moon man from the last game. I forgot his name. The one who was married to that woman. That weird couple in the same case with the Natsume before. That old bickering old couple. That she was always pouring tea on him. Um, Dang nabbit, what were their names? That he was like an old soldier, and he was like, ah. They were funny, but they were also very annoying at times. I think I gave him the same voice, kind of almost like a southern drawl, but also gumshoe. So I find that funny that I ended up giving him pretty much the same voice, without intending to. But you know what? I felt like it suited him for some reason. Um, Even though I actually edited it out, but I legit tried 3 or 4 different voices for this dude. Like originally, I kind of gave him an Apollo voice, but I was like, no, you don't deserve the Apollo voice. Um, Especially also because the Apollo voice is the voice I give Ryunosuke, so I can't. And it's like I'm just very limited on my male voices anyway. And then because of the whole accent thing, I was like, oh, I can't give them accents because we're not in England right now, so it doesn't make sense to give them any form of somewhat British accent or European accent. Uh, I would have actually given him a somewhat Italian accent, but I was like, that doesn't make sense either. So, you know what? Forget it. I'll just give him this accent. But I mean, it kind of gave him a southern twang. All the Japanese characters have Americanized accents, and then all the like British European people have British European accents, I guess. And British and German and stuff. So it is what it is. The camera never lies, except when it does. I'm sure I read these, but I didn't press on them, so uh, I don't even remember what he said, so I might as well reread them. The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The English woman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the English woman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back.
My smoldering journal spirit burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot.
Alright. Oh, so Sign, thankfully, reminded me of the name of the journalist from the Apollo Justice game. Spark Brushel. I don't know why I said... What did I say? Quill? I don't know why I said Quill. Because the joke there was about him always brushing his teeth. So, yeah, Spark Brushel. And he also has, like, a pen or something behind his ear. But the pulling on the suspenders thing is also a reference to a character from... Is it Dual Destinies? I think it's Dual Destinies, which is another annoying thing. Like, I don't know why when they have a character with suspenders, why do they gotta pull on the suspenders all the time? Like, it bothers me. Like, to me, I'm like, ouch. And also, they're gonna get stretched out. And also, ouch. Why would you do that?
He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating.
But it does seem as though he's holding something back, doesn't it?
If that's how you feel, I suggest that you trust your instincts and press him on everything he said, as you've no doubt seen done many times before in your role as judicial assistant.
Yes, I have. I've seen witnesses like this pressed often. I know exactly what to do. Okay, you're telling me to press, and that's what I'll do. Time to press.
Hold it!
What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place?
Call it journo instinct? Can you think of a better reason?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps because, as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman and you're a pervert.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He was painting the journo as a voyeur.
It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge.
Nope. Got it all wrong, little student boy.
Sorry.
To my mind, all that was inside that hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less. Scoops know no gender. Man or woman, it's all news. That's not even mini memoism, it's basic journalism. If she was naked, oh well.
Like, damn, bro. I mean, I kind of commented last time joking that, like, I don't think he even cared. Like, he's almost, like, had the vibe that he was interested no matter what her gender was. If only the courtroom was as indiscriminate.
He's like, I'm journosexual. I don't care what your gender is, as long as you're interested to me. Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on?
Tell the court then, witness. What sight befell your eyes when you looked inside the hut?
A sight that vindicated my journal instinct, that's what. When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all as clear as day. The Englishwoman sitting on the stool. Okay.
Hold it!
So you actually saw Mimbami-san entering the hut?
Yep, she was raging like my journal spirit.
And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly?
You stole it. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing.
Talking about the poison, I suppose?
The student girl walked right up to the Englishwoman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs.
Oh my. Dang.
If she laid into her anymore, she would have been laying on top of her, and that would have been a scoop.
The man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism. He clearly has a future as a fanfic writer.
But the students' rantings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time.
He really ought to work on his similes first, though, to be honest.
Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mightily angry.
And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems. Dear me. Women are so scary.
Which was the climactic moment that I caught on film.
How many pencils are you going to break, sir? I love how a lot of our witnesses come up here with an infinite supply of things, right? Like, is it Adrian Andrews who comes up there with endless supply of glasses to break? Like, you know, eyeglasses. And then him with his pencils. And then there's, like, other people, like... Who was it? Like, there's... What's his name? With his endless supply of chalices to throw. Our prosecutor. And wine bottles that are supposedly very expensive, probably. Alright. This is the third one. Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place?
Ha! The precise moment. I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out from start to finish.
I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed?
Oh?
Right you are. It's all here in my memo pad.
Okay.
When I first peered into the hut.
Oh. My brain misread that for a sec. Oh. I did not see the R. Oh. I thought he said...
When I first peed into the hut.
Oh, that would have... Oh, Lord. Oh, that's gross. Oh, ew.
I'm sure that the English woman was on this stool at the back of the hut here.
Yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that.
She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I have noted down.
It's my turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt.
Ugh, calm down, dude.
Then, the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. The English woman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And in a flash, plunged the knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other.
Wait. That positioning looks weird to me? What you describe as a grim crime indeed.
Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what Mini-Memoism says.
The beach hut plan has been entered into the court record. I think something's wrong with that. By the way, Mini-Memo-san, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on film? I think that's something that came up in a class I was in years ago. Was it psychology? Pretty sure it was. And it's something that still happens to this day and age, actually much more frequently now with phones. It's very frustrating to me. I think it's called the bystander effect. That nowadays, rather than calling for help or trying to prevent tragedies from happening, more and more people are... I think it's a mixture of being scared, right? Of the fear response. and also not like fear of getting involved and being hurt in the process, and also wanting to capture the moment. Like they're so fascinated by it and wanting to capture it on camera, on film, they used to call it, but on camera, that they are wanting to they just stand by and watch, right, rather than doing something. That heroism, that reaction of jumping in to save a life, or to prevent something wrong that's happening right in front of them, is not happening anymore. It's so rare nowadays. It's like you're forgetting. You're thinking nowadays that you're still watching through a screen. You're so far removed from it. Like the reality of it happening right in front of you is not clicking in your brain. It's sad. But at the same time, I kind of don't blame them, right? Especially if it is a fear response. Because if you're seeing someone being attacked in front of you, you're kind of scared, right? Because, like, especially if you're someone younger, or like you're unable physically, you're like, oh man, if I go up there and try to get involved, I could get hurt or killed instead, or as well. It's scary. But if you're also someone, or if you're someone who's at least bigger or stronger, then maybe you could make a difference. Or even if you're not bigger or stronger, maybe you still could make a difference by scaring away the person, or startling them, or something. Or at least calling for help. Maybe you could save that person's life, right? Changing the outcome somehow. But it's hard to snap out of it in that moment. Oof, I tell you, I have had to call 911 a few times in my life already. It's not a pleasant experience at all. It's very stressful in that moment, having to explain something that's going on, and you have this calm voice on the other end of the line, and they're expecting you to give them all this information. And sometimes the operator, sometimes they're a little I'm not gonna say unsympathetic, but sometimes they're a little rude about it. Like, I'm trying my best to be calm in that moment, but sometimes I'm like a little panicked, but I'm trying to give them the information they want, while like trying to calm down while my heart's racing, depending on the situation. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to tell you what you want to know. Like, give me a second. I'm trying to breathe. You know, like you don't gotta be snippy about it. Ooh. Anyway, yeah. Tangent number 60 since starting this LP.
Journos have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our raison d'etre.
I forget how that's pronounced. Raison d'etre? I've heard it. I just don't remember how that's supposed to be pronounced, because it's French, and that's one of the languages I'm not good at pronouncing anything French related. I know I struggled with the Aviary Attorney LP for that reason. I was like, yeah, me and French don't really mesh well. I could do Japanese words here and there if I had to, but French. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all?
Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in.
And that's something to be proud of, is it?
Your Excellency, if I may.
Yes, Professor.
I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony.
Father, what are you...
He must have seen something important there. Okay.
I will grant the defense's request. Minimamo-san, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement.
Well, nihilism is the foundation of minimemoism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless.
Alright. This is it.
I never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was there only as an observer.
So there must be some kind of proof. Which it has to be the pen, right? Let me look at the pen again. Is it the symbol? So let me look at that symbol.
Well, we know for certain that this emblem isn't that of Yume University.
The police really ought to have spotted that.
They were obviously convinced of his guilt from the outset.
Okay, let me... Is there anything else new? Beach hut plan? Is there anything... related to him? Chemical... Photo... Article? But he wrote this one? Exclusive. Can't believe you knew nothing about this, Father.
Nothing was reported to me. It seems an attempted cover-up was at play.
This is extraordinary.
What I'd really like to know is how a reporter found out about it. Well, however it happened, I have to take full responsibility. There will be serious consequences for sure.
Oh, Father. Okay, that was the article I didn't, read. Raucous England returnees tell all. This is an interview with you and Soseki-san. Is it, Father? This is though it was quite an exchange.
Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England.
Karate chop. Yeah. Is there something else I'm missing here? Just the fact it has RM, maybe? Wait, where was the RM? Should we talk about that again?
The RM initials are very clearly engraved here.
And the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message, too.
To identify her killer, you mean?
I don't think there can be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence in this case.
I mean, how can we...
The label appears to be written in a foreign language that I don't know.
It's German, so your knowledge of English is going to be of little help here, I'm afraid.
Couldn't you just have written medicine on it in Japanese? Then we'd all be able to read it.
German is the international language of medicine, my dear. But yes, I can certainly see the merit in labeling the bottle in Japanese. Though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate.
Especially if it's a poison, right? Nothing else about it. Nothing else? Should we examine the blade?
Ah yes, this must be the victim's blood.
Oh dear, blood is never a pretty sight, is it? I'm having to fight the urge to run it under a hot tap and get it clean.
You've always been fastidious about cleanliness, haven't you?
I think this is something else, Father.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. What am I missing, you guys? Other than a pen. That's all I could think of. Can I just go with the pen? Am I jumping too far? Should I just go with the pen? Can I jump? Can I?
Objection!
Hey, the music stopped. I jumped. Yay! I was scared. I was really scared. I was like, oh, what if I jump too far? All right.
Many Memo-san. Until now, I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth.
You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie. Which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Shoyu News on my arm.
Oh, it's on his arm, Banks. To think I actually noticed the armband and then I didn't notice the symbol on it. Oh, I'm so stupid. I looked at the armband and I was like, oh, he's got an armband. But I didn't freaking notice the symbol on it. To think I was looking in the evidence for the symbol, but I wasn't looking at it on his body. Oh, it's literally staring me in the face. Oh, Bings, where have your powers of observation gone? Oh, literally in the face. Oh, I bet y'all were screaming at me. Bings, why are you looking in the evidence? It's right there. Oh, I'm embarrassed. Okay, well, rip. At least I got it. That was a big waste of time. But at least I examined the evidence more. Literally on his arm. I'm embarrassed.
In a way, that's more mini-memoism.
You literally on his arm. Oh, Lord help me.
Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth.
Oh, get him.
What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel?
Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen?
Ah!
This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died.
What are you?
Weren't you wondering where it went?
If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M.
Yes.
Oh. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Membami. Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also R.M.?
No! He's like, oh shit, I didn't think of that.
Writen Many Memo. R.M.
That's horse dung. Can't you see? One of the central tenets of mini-memoism is being a pencil user.
Bruh, I said it before.
Look at the frickin' ink on your hand. I called it. You fool. And that's why you're always doing that with your frickin' tongue. Because you're used to doing that for the ink. Which is a bad habit anyway. And you keep doing that, which is unnecessary to do that to a pencil. Ew. And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see on your right hand, there's a very obvious blue ink stain.
It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is.
Horsey horse dung!
Many Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut?
Attention!
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse.
Exactly. Show You News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky.
The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky.
Huh?
And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there is another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is.
In that case, counsel, the defense will now show the court where this alleged clue lies.
Of course, Your Excellency. The clue in this fountain pen that clearly reveals its owner's identity is... I mean, we already talked about it. The symbol.
Right here.
Excuse me, I'm trying to center you. Why are you giving me a hard time? Some sort of emblem here, look. But it isn't Yume University. Business of some kind, but that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray.
Present.
As well as the initials, there is also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will of course recognize, Many Memo-san.
Oh shit.
You're proudly displaying it right now.
Goodness me, it's the emblem of the Show You News.
In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Show You News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Many Memo-san, how do you respond?
No!
Order, order. Explain yourself, witness.
No, that's too tame. It's not over.
So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets.
I've used nothing but honest tactics.
Alright then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded. I, a Show You News reporter, on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman.
An interview?
You never mentioned this before?
There's the music, which I like. When exactly was this? By the way, the music is actually why I gave him a little southern twang. When exactly was this?
As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. Just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing. And as we Many Memos say, The people don't pay their dues for unworthy moves.
However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired.
Got it? Yes, alright, but on one condition.
Condition?
In all good conscience, I can't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Soseki Natsume-san.
Your stalking victim?
Saseki-san.
Ah yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. Embrace yourselves, because it's not a harmless one. It's big.
What?
What?
Many Memoism states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story.
Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand.
Saseki-san, hiding something. The witness's secrets.
I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stared and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why many Memoism demands I reveal it now.
A question.
You mean to say the victim?
The victim regained consciousness?
I thought she was dead.
Oh, well,
And when she did, you decided to ask her a question?
that's, true, yes.
Wait, she could have just said who killed her then. I thought she couldn't speak. I thought she was dead.
He did. And that's not all. The woman gave him a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused.
What the hell?
This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack?
It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose the withering English rose a question, I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious even. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. This court must and will know the truth.
Absolutely, Your Excellency. The reporter's claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut? What the heck? Okay. Okay. Let's see.
Hold it!
You asked her for an interview, you say?
Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident she was involved in at the end of last year.
About the case in which Dr. John H. Wilson lost his life?
That's not the way I phrased it. Many Memoism calls for straight talking. Why did you murder Dr. Wilson/Watson? Is how I put it to her.
Yes, that sort of talking is as straight as a ruler.
Ask every question as if you're asking for a menu in a restaurant, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that.
And how did Miss Brett answer?
With one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Woo, that told me. So I waltzed right out of there.
Really? Something about that doesn't quite seem to fit together.
Leave every room as if you're waltzing in a dance hall, I'd say. It's the best way.
I don't believe he would just take that for an answer and just leave.
A veteran at the paper taught me that.
He's a determined fellow, so, Okay.
Hold it!
That was very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brett had just turned you away.
Persistence wins the prize. Any memoist will tell you that. Let them think you left. Then, just when they lower their guard, that's when you swoop in for the scoop.
And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photograph. Though I'm sure the young yokel student would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence. Actually, it's thanks to that photograph that we managed to identify this witness.
And now that you found me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I've got nothing to hide.
I'm sure.
Please do go ahead, witness. The court is eager to hear what you have to say.
Try to stop me. There's a story to tell here, and I'm going to tell it.
Still shady that you didn't come forward on your own, though. Okay.
Hold it!
And Soseki-san remained behind in the hut.
That's right. Yep. I'm not the friend here. Was a blabbering wreck, shaking all over, from his head to his toes, mustache twitching, eyes bulging.
What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying troubles that taunted me whilst traveling abroad. Back behind baleful bars. They'll be coming for me, surely. That's all I could think. I felt as though I was gasping for air, drowning in a sea of cold sweat.
Poor Soseki-san. His experiences in London have scarred him deeply.
As the world seemed to close in around me, I quietly recited a prayer to Amida Buddha. Eternal emptiness, empty eternity. The end is coming for me, surely. No sutras are to resound in my courtroom, please. Don't summon any demons in here, please.
And now we come to the crucial part. That's when it happened.
Alright.
Hold it!
What question? What exactly did he say?
Well now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Riderman?
Out with it, you yokel hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying Englishwoman?
Well, in truth, I'd been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then, all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air.
Ray.
I ran up the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Hosonaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan. A moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
But what did you ask her, Soseki-san?
I asked her, "Who did this to you?"
Yep.
Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't. She said nothing in response. She literally couldn't.
That's what I thought, right?
But when in the stand, you will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously.
No, without evasion or reticence.
I demand that you amend your testimony. I will! I asked her who did this to you, but she never replied.
Hold it!
So you tried to find out who the culprit was.
He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. And having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever.
However, you've indicated that the victim failed to respond, is that correct?
I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stupid mustache, because I'm Japanese.
Oh dear, Sasaki-san has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems.
Having read the report on his time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia.
But the Englishwoman didn't ignore you at all, did she, Mr. Ratterman?
Huh? Well, yes, alright. She did respond in a manner of speaking, I suppose. She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Oh.
Hold it!
Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant.
Did she now?
Sasaki-san, is that really true?
It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, with the student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked who did this to you, the Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of strength to point a trembling finger at the back of the hut.
She's not pointing at Ray. She must be pointing at something behind her then. Dang nabbit. And she can't say anything, so he must be behind. How? Like behind? Because if it's reeds, right? If it's not a solid wall, he stabbed her through the wall? Because if it's the material, there's like gaps, right? He said he was able to enter, push his camera through the gaps. So then he could easily stab her through the gaps. I'm still not sure, like, so when he went in there to interview her, and I guess the reason he just left so quickly and easily, so when he went in there to interview her and she rejected him, I guess, is when he must have put the poison in her wine with his pen. And then when he went around to spy on them was when he stabbed her with the knife. To make it look like that was how she died. So he did like a double murder, basically. He's like, I'm gonna poison this witch and then I'm gonna stab her just to make double sure that she dies. If I don't kill her one way, she'll die the other way. Because he's probably like, she'll definitely die from the poison, but they'll think that it's the knife that's gonna kill her, you know? And he did it in a way that, of course, he's like, oh, they're gonna think this girl stabbed her. They're not gonna know she was stabbed from outside of the hut. Damn, he's slick. That's crazy. That's literally crazy. I'll give him props. I mean, I still hate poisoning as a murder method, but at least he kind of mixed things up. The back of the hut, damn.
Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today.
No.
Soseki-san, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony? What? Fiddlesticks, I say! This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course, the Englishwoman did point her finger towards the back of the hut, but I was trembling and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction.
Yeah.
Actually, no, not slightly. In a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. To somewhere at the back of the hut where nobody was standing at all.
You mean that your memory of events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear?
Yes, that's it, unclear. I'm very, very unclear.
Objection!
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt.
No. It's because she must have seen him through the gap. And you all didn't see it.
Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly. But there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing. It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could possibly have committed this crime.
I am inclined to agree, and in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial.
No. No!
Ha 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 ha. The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyers' hopes dashed. 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition.
This is a serious blow, Susato. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over.
But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet.
Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice.
We must think back over everything we've learnt thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need.
Ray gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brett was killed. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me. Yes, she was stabbed while she was sitting to her back, with her back, to the wall. With a knife in her back. How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty but for herself and Ray? Somewhere, amid all the information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question.
I take it then that the defense has nothing further to add.
So the gallant Yoko student's luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised.
In that case, I am ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter now.
This is a crucial turning point now. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did he or she stab the victim?
Objection!
Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being.
Oh, to what end, counsel?
The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
Yeah.
An alternative theory? Ha! None exists.
Objection!
There was someone else present at the scene. who could have committed this crime. I like how her gestures remind me of Asogi. She's very... She reminds me of him a lot, which I like because he was like her big brother, right? Very determined, very strong. She definitely is channeling him a lot. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, Asogi, I miss you. There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime.
What?
And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time. By mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction.
This is fiction! Fantasy!
Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, Counsel, I am prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryotaro Naruhodo,
Yes, Your Excellency.
you will present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. And you will do this in the next episode.
Alright, I think we're almost there, you guys. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this. And until next time, have a nice day. Bye-bye.